Hello, Communication 212. Welcome back. It's time for another lesson. This time we're talking about grammar and AP quizzes. All right, now for our first bit of grammar, we have a little joke on poor Timmy here. As you can see, if we leave the comma out, poor Timmy turns into dinner instead of getting to eat it. Now, why do grammar and style matter? As you know, when you're writing, you're trying to convey a message to someone else. When you use appropriate grammar and style, punctuation, it's a way for you to build a bridge between yourself and the reader. It helps to promote understanding, consistency, and most importantly, these are tools that you're using to paint a picture with words. Here are a bunch of commonly misused words. Of course, we have are and our. Are is a verb, our is possessive. Compliment, compliment. Compliment is what you give to other people. So I would compliment you on your shirt. A complement is when two items are complementary, like peanut butter and jelly. Affect versus affect. Now, they do have a few different meanings for each word. The primary ones, though, for affect would be a noun meaning a result or outcome. Affect is generally used as a verb. The weather affected everyone's mood. So in this case, the weather influenced everyone's mood. That's a very good replacement word if you want to see which one to use. Also, think A for action. Now, accept versus accept. Accept is exclusion. Accept means you are receiving something. So I accept an award, except for ones I didn't earn. Insure versus ensure. Insure is what you get for your house. I have home insurance. Ensure means you'll make sure that something is happening. It's versus it's. The first one, possessive. Second, conjunction. It is there, and there. Now, I'm sure you've seen these used and abused everywhere. There is possessive. It is their sofa. There means the sofa is over there. And there means they are, as in they are moving the sofa over there. Then versus than. Then is sequential. So we will do this, then we will do that. Than means I would rather do this than that. So preference, or another comparison, as in he is older than me. Your versus your as in your class. So first possessive, second you are. Now for a little bit of sentence structure. As you all hopefully know, excuse me, as you all hopefully know, subject and predicate are the two primary parts of a sentence. Now, the subject in a very, very basic sentence is going to be a noun or pronoun. Predicate will consist of a verb and probably another noun or pronoun that is the object. So subject, verb, object. Now active versus passive voice. Active, subject acts upon a noun or pronoun in the predicate. And passive, a subject is acted upon by a noun or pronoun in the predicate. So let's see how those look. You want to use action verbs. They have a lot more punch to them. For example, when I say the dog ate the cake, it's a very specific image. The dog ate the cake. These are the ones you want to use whenever possible. Intransitive verbs, to be verbs, linking verbs. An example using the same idea of a dog eating a cake. If you were to take this and make it into a passive sentence, it would be the cake was eaten by the dog. Now, a little more about intransitive verbs. They link a subject to a predicate, noun, or pronoun, otherwise known as a predicate nominative, or to a predicate adjective. So, in the first example, Henry became a grandfather this year. Now, Henry is being renamed as a grandfather. We are using the intransitive verb became to say what happened to Henry. In a predicate adjective version, this room smells smoky. Now, smoky describes how the room smelled. Prepositions and indirect objects. A preposition shows relation of a noun or pronoun to another word in a sentence. Here are several prepositions. And in indirect object, nouns or pronouns that answer questions for whom, for what, or to what. So, for example, Bill gave the ball to Albert. Now, in this sentence, Albert is an object of the preposition to. Ask, to whom did Bill give the ball? Bill gave Albert the ball. So now Albert is an indirect object. And if you wanted to describe him using a pronoun instead, you would use him, assuming Albert is a man. And here are a few more suggestions to keep in mind as you're editing, writing, rewriting. First of all, be specific. Don't use vague words. Remember, you're trying to create an image in your reader's mind. We need facts, we need numbers, especially if you're in journalism or broadcasting. Read your writing aloud. You can hear any errors. It's much easier to see when those times when you add two these instead of one. It'll also give you an idea of how your story flows. Does it feel better when you break up that really long sentence, or does it get too choppy? A couple of other things I learned as a news producer: inaugural, not first annual. You will get a lot of press releases where people say first annual. That is incorrect. In fact, even if you hear someone saying second annual, it's still a little on the shaky side. By the third time, hopefully they're going to continue doing it. More than or less than are numbers. So you would say it is more than 1 million or less than 1 million. You would not say over or under 1 million. Over and under describe spaces. Something is under the table, not under a number. Biggest takeaway: if you're unsure, look it up. That's why you have an AP style guide. It's why you have a dictionary. All of these things are to help you become a better writer. Now, AP style book, few things. People, you're going to abbreviate their titles when you use it before their full name. Also abbreviate junior and senior. Now, if you're referring to someone by their title, for example, if you say the doctor gave the shot, then it would be lowercase doctor, not capital D doctor. Now, when you refer to adults in a story, the first reference will be their given name and family name, and then every reference afterward will be their family name, so their last name. The only exception, of course, is if you have two people who share the same family name mentioned in the story, then you want to find some other way of identifying them, either by a title. For example, if I say Dr. Biden, I mean Dr. Joe Biden, not the President, Joe Biden. Now, when you refer to children 17 and younger, the first time, again, given in family names. Second time and any other times in your story, it is by their given name. So little Johnny is called Johnny, not Johnny Knoxville or Knoxville. Places. Check your list of cities where states or countries are assumed. That would be London, Los Angeles, Paris, New York. All of those are places where if you say it without specifying where, as in Paris, Nebraska, we know you mean Paris, France. Don't abbreviate US states except in credit, state lines, or political party mentions. So if you're talking about a Democratic congressperson from Michigan, it'll be Democrat, Michigan. You only abbreviate street, avenue, or boulevard as part of a numbered address. And you also only abbreviate cardinal directions in street names with numbers. So in these examples, North 8th Street, all of this is written out. But when we add the number 221, it becomes 221 South 8th Street. So it's S period, then 8th, then ST period. And of course, finally, road is not abbreviated. Now, for things, you'll capitalize proper nouns like Eiffel Tower or the names of products like Pepsi, lowercase common nouns like soda. Use abbreviations on first mention only if they are well known, CIA, FBI. Otherwise, spell them out the first time you mention them. And if it seems reasonable, abbreviate afterward. However, the AP does tend to frown upon it. Abbreviate company, corporation, incorporated, and limited when used after the name of a corporate entity. For times, you'll use lowercase AM or PM. And if you're referring to 12 p.m., you say noon. If you're referring to 12 a.m., you say midnight. And when you reference dates in the current calendar year, you do not include the year, and it does not have an ordinal number, which means adding th, rd, etc. So as you see here, it's December 26th without a th, not December 26th th, and neither of them include 2021. Never abbreviate days of the week. So when you say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all of those are written out. Decades, you'll use an S without an apostrophe. For numbers, any figures 10 or greater, dates, weights, ages, times, addresses, percentages, all of those are going to be numbers. Words will be used to describe numbers less than 10 and whenever a number starts a sentence, including percentages. Large sums will be written as you see here. And fractions, you'll have to, excuse me. For fractions, you'll have to spell out standalone fractions such as 1/2, but if they're mixed, like 1 and 1/2, or if they include decimals, you will write them numerically. Now, for essential and non-essential clauses or phrases, removing essential clauses or phrases changes the meaning of a sentence. Now, in our first example, we saw the award-winning movie Green Book. If we just say the award-winning movie, we have no idea what movie you mean. They have a lot of movies and they've won a lot of awards. Non-essential phrase is if we specify the 2019 winner of the Academy Award competition for Best Picture, so we know exactly what year, what award, etc. We don't even need to say Green Book. You can look it up at that point and know which one we mean. Now, for essential clause, reporters who do not read the style book should not criticize their editors. In this version, without the commas before who or after style book, it makes it sound like the writer believes only reporters who don't read the style book should not criticize their editors. Everyone else, have fun. In the second version, where we add the commas after reporters and before and after style book, where the writer is saying all reporters need to withhold criticism from their editors. Now, again, punctuation, an essential clause or phrase must not be set off from the rest of a sentence by commas. A non-essential clause or phrase must be set off by commas. And here's another example. Now, when it comes to denoting particular parties with commas, which of these is correct? He and his wife, comma, Mary, comma, have one daughter, or he and his wife, Mary, have one daughter. Let's think. All right. Who said option one? Marry is a non essential clause because he has one wife. So if we say he and his wife, we don't need to know which wife. There is no other one. However, if we were saying he and his friend, and we believe that this unknown person has more than one friend, we would need to know who it is. Okay, for your AP quiz, it's going to be 15 questions, multiple choice. You get one try to do it. It is open book. That also means please use your AP style reference if you decided to subscribe online. You'll have 1 hour to take it. It's 15 questions. In general, you should know the answers. If you have trouble and need to look up everyone or almost everyone, an hour should still give you plenty of time to do it. And I decided to include a little more about APA style since we are using this for all of your writing submissions. Now, quick references. This is for a web page on a news website or a web page with an individual author. That means probably a blog or a sort of magazine website like Medium. Um, your starting last name, comma, first initial, period. In parentheses, we have the year, comma, month, day. And then in italics, the title of the article. In this case, it's why some people with anxiety love watching horror movies. Then it's followed by the name of the news source, HuffPost, not in italics. And then you'll see the URL at the very end. All right, second example. If you're looking up your information from a newspaper article you found online from a place such as the Acadiana Advocate or the New York Times, in this version, the title of the article is not italicized and the title of the paper is. Now, if you're looking up information on a government website or a website with a government agency group author, then you would follow the format you see here. So we have the name of the group author, and then in parentheses, it's only the year, comma, month, followed by the name of the page in italics, anxiety disorders, and then the name of the government agency, followed by a URL. Okay. Now, there will be a couple of changes for your homework. I'm planning to keep it this way as much as possible for the rest of the year. Turn in your papers on Moodle. I will make all of them due on Monday by 11:55 p.m. I feel like this will work a little better as far as when your classes are, as well as the other holidays we have coming up during the semester. And you'll receive feedback through your Google Drive folders. So don't worry, you didn't make the Google Drive folders in vain. Now, due this week, you have a discussion question, AP quiz, and a writing assignment. All of these are on Moodle. Now, let's take a quick look at your writing assignment. Find a piece of media writing online, highlight any grammar issues you recognize from the chapter, and you'll rewrite the 5 worst sentences and then give a summary explaining what you changed and why. Now, the author specifically mentions antecedents in the chapter. An antecedent is a noun or phrase that comes before a pronoun. Example, Marie went to the store and she bought a bag of apples. Marie is the antecedent and she is a pronoun referring to Marie. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about them, I have links to 2 very short, very excellent videos. I didn't even bother redoing them because these people did a great job explaining appositives and antecedents, as well as pronoun antecedent agreement. Take a couple minutes, go watch them. They're very informative. You can watch them again. And if you go to the Khan Academy website, they're the people who made them. You can even get a transcript of it so you can understand it even more. Now let's take a look at your homework example. All right. Now, again, you're looking for a piece of media writing, finding grammar issues, blah, blah, blah. At the end, when you're completely finished, you will upload a PDF, including highlights and rewritten sentences with explanations. And you will look at the example I have saved on there. Also, watch here, and I will show you how to download and save a copy from Google Drive as a PDF. Also, if you get stuck, find the same information from another source. Sometimes the reason an article isn't working is because whoever wrote it didn't include all the information. That's why it's important to look everything up. Now, here's your heading. We'll start with the original text. Now, this is the title this author gave for this article. I rewrote it a couple of different ways. What I like to do whenever I'm correcting something, I'll go through, highlight what's wrong, make comments about what I think needs to be changed, and then at the end, you can go back and find the worst offenders and collect them in your actual review afterward. Okay, so for this one, I said Lafayette Councilman Lazard remains steadfast regarding mask ordinance proposal. If you wanted to include additional information left out of the original text, it would be now. It would be Lafayette Councilman Lazard seeks new supporters for mask mandate. All right. So for our lead, they wrote Lafayette City Councilman Glenn Lazard says he will continue to pursue drafting a local mask ordinance that includes local enforcement. It's okay, but not great. I chose that as the first sentence to rewrite. We just read the original version, the rewrite. Lafayette City Councilman Glenn Lazard said he will continue drafting a citywide mask ordinance despite losing his proposal's co-sponsor. Why? First of all, change says to said because Lazard announced his plans Tuesday afternoon. He is not still announcing them, therefore we need to be in the past tense. I removed to pursue because a city council member doesn't have to pursue drafting an ordinance, they just draft it. Also, the specific term city is used in place of local, and I added despite losing a co-sponsor because it is an integral part of the story. That's part of the big story. Lazard had to make this announcement because his co-sponsor said she wasn't going to sponsor the bill not a bill, an ordinance anymore. Okay, now let's look at a few more examples. All right, as you can see, I also highlighted the second sentence where they said, also, he intends to schedule a hearing and release information on when that hearing will be held. This information isn't exactly needed. It definitely isn't needed right here. I would recommend moving it to the end of this story. It's something you can kind of push forward into and add on to at a later time. Now, the other council member, Nanette Cook, who supported the idea, has withdrawn her support. Again, this is something where we should have included Nanette being the co-sponsor. She isn't just another council member. On Tuesday, Nanette released, you don't refer to a grown woman by her first name. You need to say on Tuesday, Cook released a statement. And then what I would do instead of using a period here, I would use a colon, remove this sentence right here, and include her statement. I also mention we need to double check our source because this is probably not the way she wrote it in her statement. Okay. Now there are several other issues here. This was the other sentence I rewrote for this example. During a news briefing, LCG Communications Director Jamie Angel says to his knowledge, the mayor's office has not received a drafted ordinance, nor does he know if a draft is in the works. A lot going on here. All right, so for the rewrite, I tried to keep as much as I could from the original. During a news briefing, Chief Communications Officer Jamie Angel said to his knowledge, the mayor's office had not received a copy of a mask ordinance proposal. Angel also said he was unaware if such a proposal was in the works. Okay. Now, why were these changes made? Part of the reason is, again, we had a lack of additional information. Specifically, what else was in the news briefing, a little more information in the article, or in possibly in this sentence would have been nice. Jamie Angel's correct title is actually Chief Communications Officer. The briefing happened in the past, so again, said, not says. Received and ordinance are both misspelled. The sentence is rewritten as two different sentences to provide clarity because nor doesn't work. Nor is part of a correlative conjunction. So we need to have a neither nor statement, and the information given here does not lend itself to that type of relationship. Okay, a few more things. Again, this entire sentence just it's a giant mess. They're saying says instead of said. It needs to be rewritten for clarity, bottom line. Now, he says that the state fire marshal's office said the state fire marshal's apostrophe S office. And I'd probably rewrite this one too. And it would be Angel explained. And this is not correct. Onset is ONSET, as Google Grammar recognized. And we're also, the mayor from the onset stated he supports. Yeah, it's okay, but it isn't amazing. It's just a lot of stuff should have been rewritten, not posted yet, checked by someone. And then again, I would take information about what's to follow with the ordinance and put it down at the end of this article. All right. Well, that's everything for now. Send me an email if you have any questions, concerns. I will return as many of your assignments as I can before Monday's deadline to give you an opportunity to see where you can improve in your writing. So be on the lookout for those. I'll send another mass announcement to let everyone know. Thanks.